Everybody, welcome to my channel, My Yard Sale. My name is David. Hey, today I'm going to talk about my experience with chia seeds, probably the good and the bad that I've experienced about chia seeds. Then I'm going to talk a little bit about my last week, and I'll talk a little bit about my health, because there has been some changes in my health. So chia seeds, first off, I just want to say I really like chia seeds. They are an easy thing to add to smoothies, to drinks. It's an easy way to add fiber to pretty much any diet, I guess. And there's a lot of benefits in nutrients. There's omega threes. There's a lot of There's a lot of healthful benefits to chia seeds that I actually like because they don't. Chia seeds don't taste bad. They're a little crunchy, so there is some texture to it. I mean, that's all the good stuff about chia seeds. The bad stuff about chia seeds is that if you don't prepare them correctly, they can have maybe negative aspects on your life, on my life for sure. So chia seeds, I've seen a lot of posts where people talk about soaking chia seeds in hot water before you eat them, and I've always soaked them, but I've never necessarily soaked them in hot water. And I do find that they become much more bulky as they get wet. So the it seems like a lot of posts that I've seen suggest that about a tablespoon of chia seeds is a normal serving, and I think a tablespoon is probably appropriate. Any more than that, if you don't do that thing where you soak the chia seeds in hot water before you eat them, it can cause a problem because those chia seeds get into your system, they absorb the moisture out of your system, and then they bulk up, which I think maybe in some cases that might be the result that people are hoping for. But I think that people that aren't expecting that bulk things up, and it can be quite uncomfortable. Not necessarily in a mass bulk, but like you may have to go to the bathroom 5 times before you can finally get the chia seeds out of your system because your body is not going to absorb chia seeds. Your body is going to pass the chia seeds. I think if you grind chia seeds, then your body can probably absorb more of them. But for the most parts, if you eat chia seeds without having them ground them up, they're going to bulk up and they're going to pass through your system, not be absorbed. You're not going to get the benefits of absorbing the nutrients. You're going to end up passing them. And it, like I said, it may not be just one huge chia seed plop, but it could bulk up and end up being what's a normal cycle for once a day. It may end up being a cycle of 3 to 4, maybe even 5 times a day. And by cycle, I mean going to the bathroom. Um, so chia seeds, I think, are healthful and beneficial, but there are some negative sides to that. And that's all I'm going to talk about chia seeds. If you have any questions on chia seeds, do me a favor, leave it below. I'll answer any questions. I have eaten a, probably a pretty decent amount of chia seeds in the last month. I've made these shakes and I've added chia seeds to a lot of my shakes. And again, I think I was adding just too much chia seeds. And again, like I said, it doesn't make uncomfortable. It doesn't make things uncomfortable. But what it does is it, even little amounts at a time, it bulks up and it makes it so it passes through your system and doesn't necessarily get absorbed. So it just makes daily cycles much more than daily. It can be several times daily. So that's all I'm going to talk about passing chia seeds. This last week, for me and my health, was I think, an interesting week. I've been focused on eating calories, trying to eat more calories, trying to eat more, and I've been focused less on fasting. I want to be focused on autophagy, but I've been focused less on autophagy and more on trying to eat the calories and gain weight. And yes, Magnus Dens, I am focused on trying to get to 2,000 calories a day, which for me is extremely difficult because I just can't figure out how I can eat 2,000 calories. I'm just not that hungry. I just can't eat that much. And it's probably just because my system, that does seem like it's starting to turn. I did gain, I gained 3 pounds last week. So I'm eating enough calories, at least to try to gain some weight again. But I'm trying to get focused on getting to that 2,000 calories a day. And it's funny because the more I'm eating, I am gaining weight. And really, the more hungry that I am. So hopefully, I'll be hungry enough to get to 2,000 calories a day and start trying to get that, get the weight gain more regular. Because I definitely gain 2 pounds in a week. But then I don't know if I eat something that I maybe has too much sugar or just doesn't agree with my body or my system or something. But then I'll lose weight couple pounds in a week, and I can't completely understand that. I'm hoping it's not my scale. I was so proud of my scale. I'm hoping my scale isn't misreading, but I'm not even sure at this point. But last week my scale says that I gained 3 pounds, and the good news is that that 3 pounds was not fat, even though I would gladly take the fat because I could probably use the fat to stay warmer. But it was mostly muscle and just body weight is what my scale says. So I had mentioned that I've been eating a lot of chia seeds, and I found that one of the things that I really love in eating chia seeds, which it could be that I was just eating too many chia seeds, I like to take a couple teaspoons or a tablespoon of chia seeds. I put it um, in milk. I add a couple of raisins and some sugar. I use monk fruit lately. I like to mix it up, and I eat it, I guess, like chia pudding. And I really enjoyed it. I really like it, and it felt like it was doing me right for quite some time, until it probably caught up with me and was just too much chia in my system. So this last week, I had my next round of heating issues. I had mentioned last week my furnace got toasted. So these guys at Christofoli Plumbing and Heating came and replaced my furnace, which is good. They did it under warranty, so I have heat again. I'm happy about that. I live in a place in New York where without heat, I mean, it's uncomfortable for sure, but if you don't have heat here, like bad things happen to your house when you don't have heat. And I mean, people could die in their house, I guess. When it's 0 degrees out, it's it's devastating. But I'm happy to say that my heat is back, and I'm finally able to not completely be freezing. It's been just warm enough that the heat is not kicking on right now. That's why I'm wearing a hat. I'm wearing long sleeves, and I look like I'm dressed for winter because I am dressed for winter. But I'm happy to say that my heat is back on. That's a definite positive thing. Thanks to Christofoli Plumbing and Heating for taking care of my warranty and getting my heat squared away in a pretty quick turnaround. But it's nice to know that I can turn my heat up, and my room will heat up again. My house will heat up again. I'm pretty happy about that. So I've had like, well, I had this thing where I gained all this weight. No, I gained all this weight. I gained a couple pounds, which for me is kind of that's a milestone, because for me to gain even 2 pounds in a week, it just doesn't happen. My body just doesn't do it. I couldn't eat enough pounds of food to gain that much weight. I don't completely understand it because I'm not eating 4 pounds of food necessarily. I mean, I guess I could if I'm picking at it, but I'm not eating 4 pounds of food. Yet I can gain 4 pounds of weight. I don't totally understand that, but I'm happy about the weight gain. For the first time in a very long time, I can actually eat several times a day and be hungry. I haven't had that happen in a long time. There was a time when I was waking up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and that would be when I would want to eat, which actually still does happen, but it's not the one time that I eat in the entire day. It's one time that I eat in the times that I'm eating during the day. So I'm pretty happy that I'm able to hopefully start eating again more regularly, and hopefully that will mean that I'll have more posts like this one where I'm talking about gaining weight instead of dwindling away and losing weight. So I hope you guys are all having a great week. Hope you have a great weekend. I'm going to watch some football today. I'm kind of happy about that. And I'm pretty happy actually about gaining the weight. And I think that that's probably not something that most people would be that excited about. But for me, I've been so thin and it's like pretty difficult for me to gain weight. I'm excited to gain weight. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions, do me a favor. Leave it below. Hope you have a great week. Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody.